All right, let's see here. There we go. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Coffee cheers to anybody enjoying coffee. For anybody that might be new, my name is Tim. I go by FoamyGuy on GitHub and Discord. Welcome, first of all, if you are new, and thanks for watching. If anybody who's not new, thank you for watching as well. If you don't know what the show is about, or the stream, I should say, CircuitPython is kind of the central theme of the majority of the stuff that I work on stream. If you don't know what that is, you can learn more about it at CircuitPython.org. It is basically a version of Python that runs on tiny computers called microcontrollers. These microcontrollers typically will hook up to your computer with a USB cable, show up like a thumb drive, and then you can edit a code file, a Python code file on that thumb drive, and when you save it, the tiny computer inside these little chips here will actually interpret and execute that Python code for you. And then lots of these devices also come with all these I/O pins, which allow you to hook up other little bits and bobs, electronic peripherals, doodads, lights, buttons, beepers, knobs, buttons. I think I said buttons twice, levers, pretty much all kinds of sensors, motor drivers, all kinds of things that you can imagine that are electronical. You can typically connect up with these microcontrollers and then control those other things from the code, in this case on your microcontroller if you use CircuitPython. We just recently passed 500 boards that support CircuitPython, which is super cool. And again, if you did want to learn more about it, CircuitPython.org, that's the place you can head to do so. Also encourage you to join us on Discord, where there's a CircuitPython dev channel and a help with CircuitPython channel if you want to get involved with development, or if you're trying to use CircuitPython for a project or something like that and want to get some help with it. As always, thanks to Adafruit. Adafruit is a hardware and software company based out of New York. They are the company that makes CircuitPython possible by paying the folks who work on it. There's a team of folks that work on CircuitPython full-time and are paid by Adafruit to do so. There are some folks like me paid to work on the project part-time, and all of that is kind of made possible by them, obviously paying the developers to do that. So huge thanks to them, obviously, for continuing to do that all these years, and huge thanks to everyone who purchases hardware from them, which is what you can do if you would like to help support the project. That's kind of one of the easiest things you can do, is just purchase hardware from them, because that keeps the whole thing moving. Ooh, that's a new one. I hadn't seen this one. It's pretty sweet looking. Air quality, like a big old wrist-mounted thing. I like the UI on that. I don't... I guess it's red, green. Yeah, so it's like red, green, yellow for a stoplight type action there. Got CO2 action. It's like potentially some line charts. That's a nice looking interface. I hadn't seen that one. How's it going, Tithe? Cheers, fellow CircuitPython aficionados. Web workflow is so great. Thanks for bringing it further. Oh yeah, for sure. Thanks. Thanks as well to everyone who's worked on web workflow. Scott laid the groundwork for it. I will say also huge hug report to Vladak, actually, I believe is who it was, did a lot of the work on Circup initially for supporting web workflow. I've taken it from there and done lots of refactoring and lots of other stuff, but yeah, lots of folks have done lots of great work on it. And I would agree too, it's a super convenient way to interact with boards, especially if you've got projects that are kind of tucked up somewhere, or maybe outside, or, just somewhere that's not easy to reach, or, not convenient to be always like taking that device down and plugging it into your computer. Web workflow, if that device is connected to Wi-Fi, web workflow is kind of giving you the ability to remotely check out the files on there, update your scripts, all that kind of stuff. I don't think you can update the firmware, but your actual application scripts and your libraries and stuff like that, you can all do through there. And you can see the REPL as well, the serial output, so you can see any error tracebacks and stuff like that if you happen to be connected to it while it happens. So super convenient for that kind of project where it's like somewhere out of reach, out of mind, out of sight. So All right. So we're actually starting today in Learn Guide. I've been rewriting a couple of the pages. How's it going, Fede 2 as well? Not yet, but there is work on UF2 with OTAs. Nice. So they're potentially down the line, some firmware update action. I've been rewriting basically the usage section. All these pages that are red, I wrote last weekend and on Monday. And we are doing a little bit of touch-ups in here, a little bit of following up. Some folks gave me some good ideas, and I've been busy with some other stuff this week. So we're going to do some of the stuff that I got in feedback in Discord, and then we are going to get into the file management utility. Oops, I'm sitting here clicking on the Adafruit channel, expecting it to take me somewhere different, but actually already in the Adafruit channel, and it's just like in a different one of the channels. I think we need, I guess, this. Oh, right. This thing breaks it. Yeah, I forgot about this. Okay. Hug reports, which I need to remember to put in the notes for this week. To Paul Cutler, to Justin, and to Mark Gambler. Yeah, all of who read over these pages and gave me some nice feedback on it. So thanks to those folks. I'll try to remember to put my hug reports in for that. Let's see. So output. One of the feedback points was output. We don't have any examples of output on all these commands that I've added. At the very bottom, there is a section called usage, example usage, which shows several different examples of the command in action with several different kind of varieties of arguments. I tried to be like relatively comprehensive. There are still a few things. It's not like 1,000% comprehensive. There are still things that are not necessarily shown, but it tries to show the vast majority of the possibilities, the possible arguments and things like that. And then what was suggested, which I think is a great idea, is also adding a example output, which is not shown here. Up here is the output of the help command. And here is kind of the output of some tab completion, but yeah, I think totally example output is going to be a nice thing. Just so if someone's running it, they can kind of compare. That might need to be an H2 on this page, I think, actually. Okay, hold on. I need to go chase the cat away from doing something, I think. Okay. It's not actually being an honor cat, so that's good. Yeah, this is a H2, okay. Go. And actually, we don't need a space or a new line, I mean, because we're just going to have code, terminal, and then this will be some output. So this is the install command. And for the output here, I'm going to be even a bit less comprehensive. I think we're going to show the output of kind of the most basic version of this. Let me catch up on the chat as well. Let's see. It'll be very handy. But the space issue means lots of boards will default to no OTA partition layout. Yeah. I mean, I think ultimately we'll follow the same trajectory as computers and flash storage and stuff, right? So I think a year, 2 years, 3 years down the line, presumably the storage is still, you know, sort of doubling, hopefully. A couple more times. Before too long, we'll quickly, because the firmwares are relatively small too, compared to a lot of stuff on computers at least. So before too long, if we double another couple of times, we're gonna be to the point where it's kind of like we can store several copies of the firmware. Of course, like we're always adding to the firmware too, so maybe it goes up. It's kind of the double-edged sword, I suppose, is always, somebody will always find something to use. Somebody will always find something to put in the extra space, I suppose. Yeah, so let me get this connected, and then we will run a couple of these. Let me, in fact, let me just do the same one, which is here. This is on fixed local dir non-device, which is, I think, the branch from the PR I already did. Let me double check to make sure that I'm... Need to remember if I need to come back to this branch or not. So, workflow, no, this is the wrong thing. Fixed local dir non-device. Yeah, okay. There's some more stuff to fix, which we might get into as well. I also said let me catch up on the chat and then didn't actually finish catching up on the chat either. Let me see here. Would make sense for some boards, but at least most of the ESP32 will be capable. Maybe that would show up okay on ASCII Enema? ASCII Enema? I'm not familiar with that, I don't think. ASCII Enema? Looks great. TIL? Sure. Let me check it out. Is that a... Oh, interesting. That's interesting. I have seen this before. I've seen where some streamers kind of have their terminal shell overlaid into the stream. Guess they're probably using something like this. Interesting. Never heard of this. This is a cool tool. I'll have to check this out. Pip install it, run the command, and will work similar to screen. Use it with the service they have. You can convert to GIF. On the future OTA talk, there's great recent talk about incremental progressive OTA updates from Siemens. Interesting. Would allow the space-constrained boards to OTA 2 requires known version updates and usually not major versions, but more incremental patches. In our case, we may be able to diff patch. Oh, that'd be pretty cool. So you could kind of like, instead of having to have a complete copy, you can have just kind of the stuff that changes. So this, it spits out what by default? Does it, video files, it spits out this cast by default, and then from there you can get it to, I guess probably whatever you want ultimately. GIF or replaying of sessions. Does it replay the actual, like, is it like a scripting thing too? Does it replay all the commands or just visually replay? Let's make sure that we, well, it doesn't really matter. Actually, we don't really have to make sure anything. We can just do it. it'll tell us if there is, if that's already installed, which is what I'm trying to think of. My device is on 829. Do we want to have that? I mean, that's a nice touch, I think, to have in the example output, just because that makes it apparent that it does that. So then it's downloading. Yeah, we did get already installed. So I'm gonna uninstall it actually, and then install it again, and we are gonna miss a bunch of these things this time. But I might just cheat a little bit and put those back in, because I think those are actually kind of nice. So we, after get it here, we had this chunk. And then searching for dependencies. So that's all the same. I can just use maybe. Media. And there is a space before searching, but not after get it. Okay. And I do want to put putting this in there to make it hopefully apparent that it's a shell command thing. Just show the bundle updates on the first example output, not for all examples. Oh, yeah, no, I won't show. So honestly, I think I'm not going to do all of them. I think I'm going to do just this one. Maybe a web workflow one, but probably not any more than one or maybe two. Yeah. I wonder if that's the right IP. Nope. Oh, right, but I was changing that IP. Whoops. All right, I'm going to uninstall display text, and then we'll do this. Although that's not going to work because it must not be writable right now. Oops. Oh, what am I doing? I can't edit it, obviously, because it's not editable. I don't know why. I went there to change it. Can open TO. Maybe. And we can reset. AFK, yep, take it easy. Fill the bundle, yep. I think it shows a little bit different with CircuitPython set board is not defined. It's not true. Well, okay, I mean, in that capacity, I guess it's true. You're right, we can't, but now we can't do that because, yeah. ever let me save, and it's never gonna go. Oh, it actually did. Interesting. That's actually fine. Okay. All right, so 111. Actually, the IP. So the password's different. But I'll probably just use the other one in the example. And I need to probably uninstall, oops, I need to uninstall first. Okay, I need to update first, turns out. Could click that link he gave me a minute ago, right? Nice. 905 or beta? Or do we want to do another old one so that it shows the update again? I mean, we already got the update depicted on one, and I would say, like, my intention is again not to be comprehensive for the output examples. So I think actually I'm okay not doing another one that is out of date, since we already got that depicted. Tangent question, because I know you played with Serial. Any idea what the text I send through web workflow serial page comes through to supervisor runtime serial bytes available with a different byte count than the byte sense? I do not. My only real guess would be like a what you call it, new line at the end or whatever, like a /r/n at the end potentially, or one or both, and then that being miscounted. How with different byte count, how far off is it? Is it off by the same amount every time or different amounts? Oh, Circup, the only thing that gets me a lot is the order of the args, mainly that the host and password need to be before install. Would be lovely if they were global. Not sure how I mean, I think of them as global because, but the way I'm using the definition is kind of opposite, I guess, yours. I think of them as global because they go before the command, which in my mind makes them global because they're usable with all of the commands. So host and password come before install because host and password also can be used with uninstall and list and freeze and all the other ones. I'd have to look into Click a little bit more to know if it could be more forgiving about the order. My instinct is that they would probably just have to be duplicated inside of all the subcommands, which would be a bunch of extra code. But there might, like, Click has a lot of stuff that I don't know about, so I'm like, there could be a shortcut that's not that is better. That was my impression with Click, but never touched it before playing in Circup. Yeah, same here. Click, the first and biggest experience I have with Click is definitely Circup. I started using it for something different, totally unrelated to CircuitPython, but I never made it past kind of like 2 or 3 sittings on that project, honestly. It was I mean, halfway it was just me trying to learn how to use an ORM, what's it called? SQL Alchemy. I was trying to integrate SQL Alchemy, and I decided to use Click as well because it was like 2 new things I hadn't done. But I was like, I mean, Click I had done a bit more, but I kind of figured I could get both in one shot. And I was making a little utility, in fact, that was a database for My devices. Why would we be not found? I mean, the IP still says that. Ah. Maybe we need to reset again. Yeah, this page isn't coming back. I hit back and it loaded, but that's cached, and so I hit refresh and now it's not there. I wonder if we are messing it up because CodePy has that set board. Shouldn't really bother the web workflow, I wouldn't think. There we go. Two new things at once, fire and ice collide, yep. Use IP-based URL. Use URL instead, the MDNS is super unreliable. I gotcha. Yeah, I have seen that actually as well, honestly. I have seen when doing .local sometimes where I'll have extra issues. I used to not be able to do the CircuitPython .local. I could do the unique ID one once I knew it, but I couldn't do the main one. But that has since started working on my network. I never really did figure it out. It just eventually something changed in the core and it started working, or possibly something changed in my network and it started working. Could be the case too. I don't know. All right, so we got our install. It's gonna do that. I'll change this. We should maybe change this to not print your password, honestly. Really, the only difference is the found device showing that, honestly. And found device actually did show in the other command as well. It just had a path instead. Should I make a separate box? Yeah, I think we're gonna make a separate box. Whoops. Okay. Uninstall, I think I'm even gonna do only one. Whoops. I think I'm gonna do just the base one. But we will need to switch back to... I did it again. I don't know why I always want to click the file, thinking that's going to take me to this page. Okay, let's do a reset. Maybe give it 2 resets, honestly, because last time it got a little wonky the first time it came up. So let it boot. Let it crash because its CodePy file has invalid import. I'll just reset it again. Should we include that output? Do we have like a troubleshooting or something? kind of interesting, actually. I don't think like randomly on the uninstall page is the right place for it, but maybe on the first page, maybe on the like use, I think I called it what? Usage? Yeah, just usage new, which will change eventually to be just usage. Then the old usage will go away, or like turn into usage old and get archived or something. I'm actually gonna update fake device. Try to at least. Mock device? That doesn't tab complete. I don't know why. That's interesting. Well, I guess we would have to declare it. Oh, okay. No, that's because I'm just doing it wrong. Because that needs to be path, obviously. I mean, not obviously, because I didn't do it correctly, but... There we go. And the modules need an update. Let's do it so that at least one will update. What is in here? So right now HID is in here. So just gonna well, I'll just leave that, and I'm just gonna go and get an old version of a library. What library should I use? I'll just stick with RSA. I've used that for a lot of these ones, or logging I used as well, but RSA GitHub. Should get into the habit of using the URLs instead of the search engine. So yeah, we want an old release. Maybe not quite this old though. Doesn't matter too much. Oops, I want to be going to fake device actually. Now there should be, yeah, one module needing update. Please indicate which ones you wish to update. Do you want to update Adafruit RSA? I'll put yes. We'll do all of that. I will probably take out the path, and we'll just have it be Circup update, and we will reuse the one of these from the other one, which I should have done before I deleted, but can't click into it. Oh, right, because that's fake device, which is a, yeah. I was like, where did the funhouse come from? All right, lists all the libraries found on the connected device, along with whether or not they are up to date. How many do I have? I have a lot. I do have kind of a lot. I think I might use this output, but actually just delete the lines that have the 0 stuff. The 0 stuff is from loading the library out of the repo, like source code, rather than the releases, which I do a lot as a person developing and testing libraries. But a kind of like user who's not doing that, who's just installing libraries and doing projects and stuff, they're unlikely to see these. And I think they're a bit weird. I don't think we need to document them necessarily in this. But the rest of this I think is fine. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna run to the restroom as well after this. Yeah, that's nice. We got a couple majors, couple minors, and an MPY format. Good list. All right, BRB. Okay. Freeze. Okay, one of the other feedbacks was about freeze. Let me... Output. Why? Okay, so the thing is on freeze, why would you use this? We should have a section that says why would you use it. And I think that is probably going to be right up here. So that will output the current libraries installed on the connected device. It outputs each library and the current version loaded. This is helpful for kind of sharing a list of dependencies for your project to another person or another device. Yeah. I would love to see, I think, a no version argument to freeze, which would then output all of the requirements, but without the version specifiers, which today are included by default and you can't remove. I mean, you could remove with like another command or some post-processing or something, but it's helpful for sharing a list of dependencies. Should we call it requirements? Okay, example output, H2. Save code. Terminal. Mine's awfully long. We could do the same thing again where we cut out the zeros. Then I think it's pretty reasonable. They're less conveniently not as clumped this time, but that's all right. And I mean, we don't necessarily need quite that many. To just delete a few more, honestly. Okay, like that. Off maybe a quarter of them or something like that. Oh, we should, one of the example usages should be -r though. Which is not currently in here. Let me do that. Sure, I have it right. I'm pretty sure. We could maybe even include -r and -- requirements. I don't think I did that for all of them on the ones that support both, but the actual usage as opposed to the output, I'm more open to being comprehensive on. Circup, want freeze and then -r will. Actually, yeah, I guess we don't want to do that because that's going to just create requirements.txt. I guess we could go inside of fake project for right now. And then run it in there. Indeed, that still actually outputs, but it does also output to now requirements.txt, all the same stuff. Let me make sure -- requirements also Oh. Oh, it is. Requirement. Interesting. But then it's the file with an S. Requirements. It's kind of meta because it's the example command, but I'm using the word example for example usage and example output. Oh, these should have dollar signs. Oops, it should be dollar sign space actually. These ones I added an extra empty line as well since they wrap because they're kind of long. Found one of my cat's hidey holes today that I didn't know about. There's a closet kind of over there somewhere that sometimes the door gets propped open a little bit, but sometimes it's closed. But I also have caught him trying to open the door before. But I always thought he was just like opening it to play with something. But now he's actually going in there. I also caught him coming out of there after a nap or something earlier today, which I never knew that he slept in there. But there have been a few times where I will get up in the morning and he is like nowhere to be found, and then an hour or two later he'll just pop up out of thin air. Be like, where were you at, buddy? I've crossed one of those places off the list. Let me change temp C. All right, show. This one is going to be tough. We're going to definitely have to truncate this one. Because this one has a lot of output. I think we'll just do a couple of these and then give it the old dot. Oh, right, there is, maybe I should have, well, but I want the basic example too. Maybe this is one instance as well where we will add one more of the outputs and we will do a search. So you can actually do Circup show BLE, and then that's going to list only those, which is still 19, which is kind of a lot. How many is display? Maybe display IO. Of course, like display text, there's a couple of things that display IO doesn't include. 21, and so it's 19, 21. Yes, I mean 19's not. I'm trying to think if there's like a shorter many SSDs are there? 13. That might be the winner. Might be the winner. Oops. And bundle commands, but there's multiple, so usage. So this one is actually, I think, an H3, yeah. Text, example, output, H3 on that. Save it, we'll add code. Bundle show, Circup bundle show. Whoops, wrong terminal. Fairly wrong browser window. Okay, I'm closer though. Circup bundle show. Bundle add. Do it with the fonts command here, which is what our usage example is. Example output H3 code. Oops. One of the other pieces of feedback was it'd be nice to have more of an example on the fonts thing of like actually installing fonts from that. I think a page on fonts could be helpful, yeah. Yeah, totally agreed with that. And I think in the display text learn guide is where I think there's already a custom fonts page in there. And I think adding Circup bundle add, the fonts bundle, and then Circup install, you know, a handful of those fonts, show how you can find which ones are in there and what sizes are available, and show examples of installing a couple of them over in the display text learn guide, I think will be good. All right, bundle remove, nice and easy. Oops. All right. There is, for what it's worth, maybe not too much, but for what it's worth, there is a section on this new page, or there will be when it goes live, that does talk about the order of those things we talked about earlier, path and well, host and password and path having to come before the commands. But like if we do eventually make it possible to be either way, there is some Circup magic that doesn't require too much boilerplate, then we could take that chunk out, essentially. So yeah, I guess do we want like a error troubleshooting or something? We call it troubleshooting. That should be an H2. Troubleshooting. So in this one, I'm basically just going to put the error when it doesn't find the device. Which has some troubleshooting output in it already. Should we do... No, I think I'm going to do it without the command on this one. Should we say like reason, or what do we want to call the like do this to fix it? Or maybe reason, explanation. I'll do these as H3s, actually. Circup was unable to automatically locate your device. If your device is connected with a USB cable, then ensure that it is appearing to the host PC as CircuitPy drive. It's not appearing. Make sure that you have a working USB cable with data lines. Some USB cables are charging only and will not work with Circup. I'm actually going to do it this way. Circup was unable to automatically locate your device. There are a few possible causes of this. Your device is connected with the USB cable, then ensure that it is appearing to the host PC as the CircuitPy drive. If it's not appearing, should there be a comma there? I never use commas correctly. If it's, it feels like everyone always says like a pause. If it's not appearing, make sure that you have a working USB cable with data lines. Some USB cables are charging only and will not work with Circup. If your device has a custom drive name other than Circup, CircuitPy, then you will need to use the path argument and pass the location, the path pointing to your drive by its name. I don't know if that's kind of implied, maybe, I don't know. CircuitPy, these can be bold. Okay. And then the last kind of option is web workflow. If you're using web workflow, then you need to include the host and password arguments. Pass in IP address or host name and web workflow password, respectively. Use Grammarly when typing. Do you have to sign up for it? I don't necessarily want to sign up for it, but if it's like Copilot or whatever, like I can just open Edge and like type to Copilot, I would give it a try. I feel like hostname is one word. The usage that I'm trying to use it in. Yeah. Get a free one, but I buy it since it's improved my English writing. Yeah, I mean I would say the cost is not. The cost probably factors in, but the just signing up is kind of also a thing I don't necessarily want to do for it. Signing up and being tracked as a customer profile, basically. Not that I wouldn't be tracked as a customer profile if I didn't sign up, but like. I don't know. I gotta wait and see a bit on what some of these companies do with some of the data that they take from the people that are using their stuff before I'm comfortable enough to dive in all the way on some of it. I could imagine though, like I hear what you're saying though. I'm sure it would definitely improve my writing as well, because I'm not good at formulating English writing that well. And then I can't really think of any other. I mean, I guess I don't know what it looks like if you're not online. I don't really want to find out right now. Like that might be one other good troubleshooting thing is like you run Circup install and you don't have the bundle cached locally and you're not online, then it will fail and say something, I'm sure. But I don't have a super easy way to find that, I don't think. All right. And I think much what I wanted on this for now. Next place we're heading is web workflow file management And I will just go ahead and switch back to writable through web workflow, because I think we'll be getting into some put and some post and some stuff like that where we're creating files. Refresh. I wish, does F5 work here? I wish I could just F5. No, it's like trying to copy the directory. What would that? Oh, I unplugged it actually, so this is my fault. Been with them over 2 years, definitely hasn't helped me write better. Like, it can link to practically every app, even in Discord. Also, like, it can link into practically every app, even in Discord. I think I will say one of the things that gives me hesitation about Grammarly a little tiny bit is a lot of their commercials that I have seen on YouTube are like, they promote it as a thing for students to help them write papers, but like also some students are getting like their academic lives ruined for using it to write papers. And I understand that there's I guess acceptable ways to use it and unacceptable ways to use it, but I find it a little bit sketchy that they advertise it kind of with that sort of use case when there are people who are like getting completely wrecked by their school for using it. I think they should be a little more I guess careful about what they are recommending people use it for, and being diligent about like telling people not to misuse it in their advertising, I think is something they should have a responsibility to do. But I don't really make the rules, and they don't really have to do things just because I want them to, so. All right, we do need a reset so that will take effect. I do think, though, like, translation is one of the huge, like, really cool things that these technologies can do, for sure. Being able to either translate out of one language to another language, or just help you formulate your thoughts into a language that you are less comfortable with. Be it like a second language or even just your first language, but if you're just not as comfortable with writing or formulating your thoughts into long form prose or whatever, like, those use cases I do think are super duper cool stuff. As far as the LLMs, all of them honestly go, Grammarly included. Does not create stuff, it only rearranges and corrects English, unlike AI, which can come up with whole written stories. The user does not even type. Interesting. Yeah, so, like, technologically, I'm on board with that, but I think, like, if you are a college student who paid lots and lots of money to, like, attend school, and then you're now getting, like, failing in a class because of it or whatever, like, you can take that argument to the school and, like, maybe they will see it that way, but maybe they will not. I just feel bad for students having to be put into the position of, like, trying to argue that. Like, it could be totally on the up and up if they're using that tool that does not just write the paper for them. But I think the schools are, like, lagging, right? The schools don't move as fast as the technology. So if you get caught with it, you are kind of in the position of trying to explain technologically it's not cheating because of these reasons, but, like, you know, that's a tough position for the student to be the one trying to, like, make that case to the school with their academic, you know, future sometimes on the line. I just think they need to, like, the companies creating those tools need to probably be a little bit more proactive in working with the schools, and the schools certainly need to be better about keeping up with what's out there and like having clear guidelines of what's okay and what's not okay. And I think until it's transparent, until everything's very clear, what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do, until that clarity exists, it's weird to me that they advertise it at those kind of use cases. I think the case for the first commercial calculator allowed in schools. Yeah, I was definitely always a calculator kid. I was always like, well, why can't we use a calculator? Like, calculator's a thing that exists, right? It's helpful. I was very much on board with that. And I think like the tool itself, I'm on board with using. I just like some people are getting their stuff ruined by it, like either getting expelled or getting failing a class or just different stuff is like, I don't know, you know, they may have done nothing wrong. They may have done something wrong, but I think either way, like each case by case basis, there's probably some that did nothing wrong. There's probably some that did a little bit wrong, but either way, like until there's a lot more clarity around what's allowed and what's not allowed, I think it's kind of irresponsible to, at least to market it in the way that I've seen personally. Like just the ads, one or two of the ads that I saw kind of rubbed me the wrong way, where they were like really hyping it up as helping you write your papers and stuff. Yeah, that's definitely true. Generational technology. All right, let's see. I'm getting a little my own thoughts here. So we need to go. So I actually have this in a separate. I do have this in a separate repo right now, but one of the. Let me close some of these at this point. One of the bits of feedback from Scott was actually just to put it all in Circup, basically. Put it as a second entry point into Circup. Actually kind of makes me want to take a look at this more. Dev. I don't know what this. I've never seen this. I don't think. I mean, I think I've seen pip install dev like something, but not with a dot. Anyway, though, I would say I'm not heartbroken if that doesn't work. If everything else works, but that doesn't, I think I'm not willing to hold it up for that reason. So the reason why I'm thinking, so this is a PR that changes this over to pyproject.toml instead of setup.py, which is honestly probably a really good thing to do if we want to see. I don't know about this stuff though. I should probably ask about this stuff. I don't think we should have, I don't necessarily think we need all of this in the repo, personally. Like Docker container stuff. I feel like it's kind of just extra stuff that's not necessarily like related directly to the project, and it's like kind of after the XZ debacle, I'm a little bit squeamish about having extra scripts and stuff like this where there's, you know, bits of like sudo and root and like I get this is a Docker file, it's going to run inside that container, but I'm also a little bit like skittish about having a bunch of stuff like that for potentially weird stuff to hide inside of. But the switch to the actual pyproject.toml and the getting rid of the setup py would be very, very, very good, I think, to do before looking at a second entry point, because that entry point is inside of PyProject or settings.py, respectively. I don't know what it's called. Actually, it doesn't look like it is in here. Interesting. All right, maybe we don't mess with this one for today. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I think that's actually it. That's the entry thing. So then, yeah, we would have another one where it would be like the name of the new thing, which I think we talked about, WW Shell? Yeah, so far WW Shell has got a couple of votes. So we would have the new one. I'm getting all... We'd have the new one, WW Shell equals, and then that would be either also a new package or whatever. Yeah. If anything, I would agree with this too. Like the dev container, I think is kind of it could be a separate thing as well. I'd love to get feedback from more folks. Personally, I'm a bit perhaps a way for Circup to push a new TOML file. The new, you mean like settings.toml, or makes me think of the first punishment at secondary school, pages of the phrase, I will not misuse the school computer systems. Yeah, printed was okay, so Control CV was to the rescue, yeah. Catch up here as well. Hearing Scott on Copilot usage recently was refreshing to see the flip. Appreciating it for the tool it is. Yeah, I totally agree. And in the way that he's using it, it almost looks to me just like a like an improved IntelliSense or whatever. Good at predicting the print debug. Yeah, which would be huge for me as well, because I don't go in the core. I mean, even not anywhere, obviously nowhere near as frequently as him, but I go in the core fairly infrequently to the point where I forget the print statement. I do not have it memorized. And so for me, like, I don't have an MP tab or anything like that. I'm like trying to like get grep print and then find an existing one and copy paste it. So the appeal of it to auto write some of that stuff actually does look super appealing to me on the Copilot side. I have not looked into its integration with, it would be CLion in the core for me, but with the IntelliJ IDEA branded C IDE. I agree with you though. After watching Scott use it, it does make me want to give it a try in the core. Especially because there's a lot of that stuff where, like, if it did have that context and if it can actually fill it in relatively well. Now, I will say one thing where he's got a huge advantage over me. If it generates nonsense, like, I'm less likely to notice it and realize what part of it is nonsense just because I'm less familiar with C. So it could also be a bit of a double-edged sword for me. But the IntelliSense finishing out that print statement, which I definitely don't have memorized, that is looking super cool to me, though. What I encountered a long time in school was poor teaching of English, so I was poor at the basic rules of English. I was much better at mechanical or math. I treat this as a tool. I remember the first typewriters that had spell checking and the hoo-ha generated at school. Yeah, I'm with you there, and I'm like all the way pro spell checking. I mean, honestly, I'm pro, like, even to the point where I would say, like I think Wikipedia has a bigger usage in school than it's led to be. Like, it was always taboo at our school to cite Wikipedia as something, because, like, it can be edited by anyone, but, like, it can be edited by anyone kind of eschews the idea that, like, it's also actively moderated, right? It depends on what facts you're pulling out of it, I suppose. And I can see the need for nuance, but, like, I've always been relatively on board, I guess, with adopting the tool, whatever the new tool is, even to the point of getting myself in trouble sometimes, because I'd be like, well, I think it's a fine source, so I'm going to use it. Or the calculator, like we talked about before, I was always like, yeah, let's just use the calculator. Spell checker. Like to push a new settings toml. So yeah, you'll totally be able to do that with this new tool, this ww shell. If we end up calling that, I'm gonna start calling it that just because that's got the most votes right now. With this new tool though, it's like a generic file management utility, so you can get files off the device, and you can put files onto the device, and you can like delete files. So you'll be able to push a new settings.toml if you want. I don't know what'll happen after that. Like you might need to reboot or something to get it to take effect. Not sure if it will just go or what, but yeah, you'll be able to change the file at least for sure. In any file, honestly, not even just settings toml. Okay. I think I am actually tempted to hit up this other PR, give it a test locally, remove the dev container from it for now, and then merge it. As long as everything is good. It does have build though. What was that? Build is required for packaging. Yeah, maybe I'm a bit hasty, I guess, because there is this. I'd like to get that figured out too. Build. This is the first time I need to include it explicitly. Python-m build? What is Python-m build? There's this dev thing again. I still don't know what that's about. Like, is that different than just pip install -e dot? Which is that's what I've always done, is just pip install -e dot. But then they do talk about down here it not working. So does it have that? Yeah, I don't think I do. I think I'm not gonna merge it today. I'm getting a bit off the trail of what I really want to work on. But I do want to get into this pretty soon because I think it would be nice to get that over to pyproject.toml. Circup is one of the relatively few things at this point that's not actually on there. Okay, yeah, no, there's no changes to build.yaml. So you know what's weird is we have some toml and some YAML. I just noticed that. It's kind of weird. Anyway, yeah, we'll leave that. So we'll just start with setup py for now. I am going to start migrating what I have, which what I have is in a separate repo, and I'm going to start moving that into Circup. But I do need to run to the restroom first, so I'm going to do that, and then I'll be back in a minute. I'd like to push new. Oh, yeah, that's from before. But let's see, when I don't have CircuitPy drive, but I do have the serial IP, like used Webflow. Yep. Nice. Okay, BRB. Okay. And so in the short term to test that, we're just going to go into CircuitPy entry points, console scripts. That's a list, which looks pretty convenient. I'm assuming we can do something like this. www file, www shell, we said. www shell equals, we'll call this, I think I'll... So one question, if we are putting this all in one repo, is do we want it underneath the Circup package? So like, should we make a www shell package inside of Circup? Or option 2, we make a www shell alongside of Circup, which we are still in the Circup repo. I'm inclined, but then there's gonna be like 2 eggs or whatever, right? Let's start. No, you know what? We put it inside. We put it inside because we're going to use backends, right? Backends is going to be used by www shell. And so we don't want www shell separate package, like importing backends from Circup when they're alongside each other separate. We want it inside, I think. So inside of here, we go new. And first we start a branch. First of all, let's not just randomly start going on main here. New branch. Actually, I have this thing. Ada branch. Let me go back one. Ada branch. We will call this www shell. Okay, www shell. So that's going to be Circup. And then we're going to say www shell is a new Python package in here. www shell init add. Yep, that's going to get all the stuff we have from in here, which I was calling circ file. We're going to take all of that. We're going to drop it into here. We're going to overwrite that, although it might still be empty. We're going to add all of those. We will change circ file logging to www. Actually, we don't need that anymore. We're just going to use Circup logging. Just delete that for now. Something in there will break, but we'll go and fix it. And then entry main. Commands import main. Commands import main. We might just do main again, right? So Circup, would it be dot www shell main? Man not found. I think Circup, no, pip install -e dot. Successfully installed www shell help. Okay, yeah, we got sort of there. Has no attribute main, so so I guess the reason why that worked here is because it imports it in this init file. I guess we should just have this being in here, right? Or we could use entry instead of main, maybe. But it's entry is like a not a function, right? It's a file. We just put this stuff in here. Probably delete entry, but I'm not gonna just yet. No module named commands. So I guess that would be dot commands because of something with Python. Yeah, all of these are going to need to change actually. But we're not going to use that. Let me just skip backends. Actually, command utils also we can skip because that we're going to be using the other one now. Commands. We will do some stuff here. So here we're going to say from, can we just say circup.logging? That should work. Shared, so that's good. We're going to go circup.shared. So pretty much all of these are going to be circup. Now instead. Some of it we'll need to add because I did start putting new code into the WW shell parts. So for instance, sorted by directory, then alpha exists in here. Not yet here. Now. Entry we don't really need. Shared we don't really need. Yeah, so the good news actually, combining all of this back into the Circup repo makes it so we get rid of a lot of stuff, honestly. Pretty nice. Is there anything else we need out of here? Nice, okay, so that's actually working. We got it to at least run the help command. All right, so let's just try ls. Host needs password. Web backend has no lister. So the thing there is basically this backends is different from this backends. We need to bring all the stuff that's in here into here. So I'm going to go compare with backends here. So this one is the one that's WW shell. What we're going to do is we're going to find anything not going to be quite as easy as I thought. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this and paste it. That I'm going to grab actually. But yeah. Version override, that's a different thing. We don't need to mess with that. FSURL. That we want. Fortunately, we can't just arrow it because of the version override. Okay, upload file. Download file. Put that after copy file. Those. Okay, should be the bulk of it, honestly. The lister, actually. Okay, one more. Lister. So, and then, but this is currently only in the web workflow because www shell is meant for web workflow only currently. I guess one question is whether we would ever want it to support disk workflow. I kind of lean towards not, because when you are using disk workflow, you can just copy files with the command line like cp, move, delete, well, rm, and whatever the analogous stuff on Windows is. Okay, that should get us to where our web backend has everything it needs to run www shell. Yeah, nice. Okay. Ooh, wow, that's a lot of stuff to print, but okay. Okay, that's actually working. I don't remember how much else. Remember how much else is actually implemented so far? Not a lot. Maybe Git. Oh, wrong commands. Commands here. Okay, so I'm also gonna. I'm gonna delete this. Do we need any of it? I mean, it's working kind of. I'm tempted to delete all this stuff. How about before deleting it, I just Control-Alt comment. Man utils Control-Alt comment. Commands we keep. Entry we don't really need. I was actually using entry more so for testing. Shared we don't need. Meant all that stuff. Okay, and then let's see if it still works. Nice. Okay. Now let's see what else is actually implemented. I think it's just maybe Git. Yeah, Git looks like it's implemented. So we should be able to do something like get boot out.txt cat boot out.txt. So that downloaded it. I'm going to delete it though. We don't just want it in our Circup. I think was I using a different directory maybe? Fake device, fake project. I don't know. The other day I was downloading those to somewhere, but I'm not sure where. Okay, so it should be safe to delete these. Everything that was implemented, which is not much, just list and get, is working. And I still have that code from here. So if we ever needed that stuff again, it could come from here. Double check, it's got those. Okay, delete. Entry. Actually, I kind of don't mind the name entry. It's kind of nice, but again, we do. init we need to keep. Okay, now we're down to just commands inside www shell, basically. www shell has its own commands, but other than that, it relies on all of the other modules from Circup, which does cut out a lot of code, actually, so kind of glad that Scott suggested that, because I was going down the separate libraries route, and like a lot of that was just duplicate code, right? So then tracked in 2 different repos, so then whenever it changes, it needs to change in 2 places. Like, this is actually much nicer. All right, let's try put. Put should be relatively straightforward. I always start by just printing my stuff out, so let's go click.echo. So we have file, we have location, we have override. I'll just print all of those for now. F put file at location overwrite. Okay. Let me make dir working dir. Let's go in there. Let's touch something.text. Let's just put some stuff in here. Okay. Now, not Circup, we want www shell. Snake, so we could say put something tab, and that works. So we should be able to omit the location, I think. But that doesn't actually work. Can I have 2 args less than 0? If we add the location, if we just say like root, does it still not liking that? Overwrite. Still not. Okay, so something's definitely just wrong all the way. What? Inv? Oh, I don't even know where that. Why are we even there? I don't even know what that is. Wow, that's weird. Okay. Why does that not point into our code? That's very strange. Boy, okay, so I mean, load entry point, I mean, it would be calling main in www shell, I presume, right? I guess we could just add some prints. So we got the found device. Now I have 2 in args. Oh, okay. Yeah, some of these I guessed on. Actually, these should both be 1. I have a better understanding of what this means now, and they should both be 1. It's the number of arguments it's expecting. So when you do -- file, well, it's not a -- it's just an argument. So when you put the file, though, you're allowed to only put 1. You can't put more than 1. Yeah, and location, actually, it does say required false. Because my idea is, if you don't put a location, then it should just go to the root. Here we go. Put something.text at, and then it says none, overwrite false. Okay, so file, so location rather, that's going to default to root. Default root. All right, there we go. And if you pass it, it will change. So if we say like put something text lib, and that's going to say put something text at lib, overwrite false, and then overwrite goes to true when we pass that. All right, perfect. All of the arguments are working. Yeah, we might as well just keep that, I guess, for now. I need the web workflow documentation. And the request documentation, probably. So I'm pretty sure it's a put request. Although, I mean, we're uploading with something else already, right? We're uploading with do we have an upload file? The download file now. Yeah, we have an upload file actually. Okay, yeah, I don't I mean, as long as that exists on web back, yeah, okay, that should be fine. Fine, we should be able to just call that. This probably needs a pass. I don't know what's going on with that. Weird. Yeah, that's main. Actually, then this ends up being really easy because we already have the backend. The backend is context objects, context. I think. No, context object backend. obj back. Yeah, well, it would be context obviously. Backend. And then we can just say upload file. Which takes the target file and the location to paste, which is, we already have both of those. It does not take overwrite. Maybe, boy, I guess we have to, okay, we either have to change upload file to accept an override argument and then have logic in here that checks if the file exists. But I don't think that's good, actually. I think upload file should just upload the file. We should have another thing called, like, oh, fair enough. File exists. That's the other thing, and that's exactly what it should be called. So we should just say if not context object backend file exists file. Should we location file? Because if they put it in a directory, we want to be checking in that directory. So if that file does not exist, then upload it. Else the file did exist. I think I like else better, actually. Else, and then in here we're gonna go if overwrite. And I'm actually gonna do an else here as well. Click .echo. So if the file existed and they did not pass overwrite, then we're just gonna say file. No, I'm not even gonna put file. I'm just gonna say location file already exists. Pass overwrite if you wish to replace it. If overwrite was true, then we're going to say click.echo location already exists. Location file already exists. Overwriting it. And then we're going to do this anyway. Seems like it was successful. Yeah, nice. So if we said without overwrite, then we got, maybe should we do like click.seco and then it's seco? And then a color? That'd be red or yellow? I mean red, because it is telling you that a thing did not happen, right? Which is kind of an error, basically, right? I thought it was seco. Color. Styles? FG. Okay, there we go. Already exists, pass overwrite if you wish to replace it, and then so if we do, we will get this. This one I'm actually going to do seco on yellow as like a warning, like, hey, notice this. I'm not telling you it didn't work, but I am telling you something, you know, it's destructive is really what it boils down to, right? Like we just deleted data, so if you didn't mean to do that, then hopefully you notice this. All right. You know, one of the nice things about combining this back into Circup repo is whenever we change this to not print your password, it will take effect for both, which is convenient. All right, sweet. So put is working. Put was pretty straightforward. I guess I wrote a bunch of it without hooking up the actual command, I suppose. I don't know if I like it is. It's kind of weird though that I wrote all of that without that. Maybe I mean I guess it existed already. Upload file. Yeah, I guess it existed. Anything else for put? Not really, right? Because overwrite is the only argument. Well, okay, let's make sure it works if we don't specify the location. So if we just say put something text, then it is gonna do that. Should it tell you it was successful? Yeah, I mean, like the install command, for instance, says installed when it's done, right? It tells you what it did. We do have this, but this, like, I'm imagining this probably gets cut out at some point. Maybe now's the time. Or maybe it would be nice to always have, like, attempting, and then later on here we have one that's, like, successful. Successfully put. Our F string. Let's not get tricked by that again. Location. File. I got a lot of these open, huh? All right, so that already. What? Shouldn't that be already existing? Not only does it already exist, it actually already existed before, and it has something else inside of it. I mean, my best guess is that we're not supposed to pass the slash. But that's weird that it is just working. And then I'm assuming that this also fails to know for real if the file exists. So my control click is polluted with a bunch of extra things. Request.get file path. So this basically pretty much is just going to boil down to the fact that it seems like when you send the GET request to the file, if you include a prefixed slash to indicate that you're at the root, then that is making it not work. I do wonder, actually, though, are we... Maybe we just have a double slash? Maybe we just have a double slash. In which case we would just not need to pass slash for root. But like lib worked, right? We had slash lib and it worked. Or did we have lib slash? I think we had lib slash, actually. What? That should have an FS, I think, right? Shouldn't that have an FS? File exists? Is it different in this one? Does not seem to be. Oh, actually, that has an FS there. Get file path. Web backend. I've heard swapping up the music here. There was a get file path. You can't do this. I think we thought we fixed this somewhere, actually. Not here, though. This doesn't work. You can't chain these URL joins together. It cuts out the in-betweens. Um, I mean, really, it should be called get URL, get file URL. Where was it used? Let's see, it's like really more than one places that uses it. Okay. I feel like this should really be called get file URL. But there's one on, is there one on disk backend? If there is, then I guess that makes sense. There is one on this backend. Okay. Yeah, that's unfortunate, I guess. In order to keep the interface the same, it makes sense to have it called that, but it's unfortunate because when it is on the web backend, get file URL is actually a more descriptive name, more correct name. But either way, it doesn't work because you can't do these multiple URL joins I found last time. We need to be just saying like just plus or F strings, either one, I think. Or /.join, maybe. Yeah, probably /.join. Then a tuple. Location. FS. File name. Okay. And then we do have doubled up slashes between FS and something. So technically we should, interestingly, it did still work. Well, nah. Wait, that means our logic is off, right? Something, because it says this already, and we didn't pass this, so it says that already exists. Oh, I think my print is just in the wrong spot. Yeah. We should only print this if we modify the file, like here and here. Okay, nice. Okay, now the extra slash. I think we just, I guess we should just default the location to empty string instead of slash. Yeah, there we go. So it says something already exists, I'd like to replace it. And right now, something is still the other one. So we're going to say overwrite here in a minute, and it's going to change it from hello to the new thing. Oh, it failed though. This says hello. But it does say successfully put. Yikes. Okay, I guess let's look at the request. I wish I could just go to the right place. Alright, also I gotta run to the restroom again, so I'll be back in a minute. Okay. Here I use URL join and /.join. Nice. So ours is a file, not a directory. All right. I mean, I'm assuming it's a 200. Oh, let's look at the API also. What does this actually say when we put tries? No, we don't make that's for a directory. FS directory path. We want file path. There we go. FS. So F. So created. So 201 is created. 204 file existed and overwritten. Otherwise, we have unauthorized, forbidden, not found, conflict, aka not writable, payload too large, expectation failed, expectation 500. I don't think any of those. We should be fine with all of those, I think. Let's also go ahead and print r.content. .204. Got a whole lot of nothing on that. Honestly, that. I mean, 204 is telling us it over. Okay. Proof comes out. So. Yeah. So. Yeah. Okay. So if location is none, then it inserts lib. And I guess we must be passing it with location none. But that is weird because I defaulted the... There's no other usages. The location here should be empty string, not none. The thought. Let me put quotes because if it's an empty string, it'll be hard to see. Does it, maybe is it not checking none? Maybe it just says like if location, because empty string is falsy. It says if location is none. Location is none. That should be false because it should be empty string. So we should go to else. We should say device location / fs / whatever location was. So empty string in our case plus file name. So we should end up with HTTP, IP, whatever /fs / something.txt. But we got an extra. Is this true? This is not true on empty string, is it? It's not true. Okay. Is it true in CircuitPython? Well, let's run it and see what it says here, though, I guess. Maybe it is none. No, I mean, why would it be none, though? Oh. We're not passing it. Yeah. If it's a directory, it uses location to paste. Maybe. Possibly we should be having it here as well, but I'm not sure on that one. That one may not matter, but probably will, because it's just going to put it into lib if not. So yeah, because it would create the right, oh, but that's create lib directory. Yeah. So this function probably shouldn't be called create library directory because it looks like it can create any directory actually. Because in the case where location to paste is not lib, then it's going to be creating that URL, HTTP 192 whatever /fs / fonts, let's say, for some other directory. And then target file, so like fonts, and then maybe Arial is another directory inside of that, and then maybe inside of there you got a couple Arial fonts. That's saying create library directory, but it's actually going to create the fonts directory, or maybe the Arial directory. Honestly, it looks like it probably would not support creating both, so you would need to do one and then the other one. Either way, though, this can create, any directory, not just the library directory. It probably defaults to lib, maybe? No, it says library path, though. See, that's weird. Like, why would it be library path? Like, library path is hard-coded to lib. Yeah, I think we would need this. I haven't tested directories yet. There we go. Okay, 204. We got successful, and this time it will actually have content that's different, right? Yep, 210 bytes instead of 6 bytes. There we are. Okay. All right, I think I'm going to call it for now there. I will commit this. It hasn't had, well, I mean, I guess I got to run pre-commit real fast. I say it hasn't had pre-commit run. It's certainly not ready for PRing, but we can commit it at least. We got upload file. Got a different error there. Got a bunch of extra print statements because I was very confused for a minute. Upload file. I think we have upload file on the backend superclass, but and on web backend, but not on disk backend. We probably should change that. We don't really need this, I guess. Lister. Okay, that's all the new stuff there. Sorted. Okay, that's all new because that's all the www shell commands, and then setup pi, the only difference is we have a new entry point. Nice, okay, so let's do that, save, let's put that, push, we are gonna go to foamy guy. There we go, boom. All right, anybody who's interested, foamy guy fork with the branch www shell has got the beginnings of this on there. I would say right now, like, use at your own risk type thing. Like, you should back up your device, which you should probably be doing anyway if you've got important stuff on it, but definitely back up your device if you're interested in testing this. But anybody who is interested in testing this, if you do give it a try, let me know how it goes. I'd be most appreciative to get more folks actually using it beyond me, just because I'm sure other folks will be better at finding issues that pop up with it. Thank you for watching. I hope everyone has a good rest of your day, good rest of your weekend. Let's see. It's a holiday on Monday, so the meeting's on Tuesday this week. As far as I know, Scott is still around for deep dive this week on Friday, so check Scott out on Friday. I will be back next Saturday at the usual time, 10 a.m. Central Time, for this stream Saturday. Is that right? Yeah. The week after might be different, though. The week after, we might need to talk about next week. I might be skipping or changing something on the 8th, but it's yet to be known. I gotta figure some more out. But next week should be usual time, 10 a.m. Central Time on Saturday. Thanks again, and see you later.